Hi, I am Eva Bajzik. I am working in the Spontaneous Scientific Methodological Research and Educational Center in Hungary. I am a physician and working as a rehabilitation specialist. My talk today is about retained Moro reflex and its effects. As humans, all the movements we make at birth and immediately after birth are in fact primitive reflexes. As we develop our movement, these primitive reflexes gradually become inhibited and we develop our species-specific movement. The timely inhibition of infant reflexes and the development of mature reflexes are the basis for the development and functioning of a mature nervous system. Nowadays, it is common for infant reflexes not to be inhibited at the proper developmental stage, simply because the baby's body does not receive the stimuli that triggers the reflex and does not receive sufficient stimuli to start building the mature reflex. This can happen because of very simple things like a caesarean birth, tight clothing, regular sitting in a breech, or even because of a child abuse. The Moro reflex is a primitive starter reflex that develops in the fetal period and persists in infancy until a few months of age. You can imagine it as a one-switch response. If the incoming stimulus hits the stimulus threshold, it is triggered. If it doesn't, it is not. It is a full bodily neuromotor and hormonal response. Normally, at the right level of maturity, this is superseded by a mature fight-or-flight response. In cases where something goes wrong with the infant's neurological maturation, the Moro reflex persists into adulthood. This means that these adults respond to stressful stimuli with the same full bodily neurological, motor and hormonal response. Many people who have suffered child abuse or who have been neglected as infants or just went something wrong with the neurological maturation during the infancy may have a tendency to retain the Moro reflex into adulthood. The problem with this is that the stimulus from the environment does not reach the cerebral cortex. The response is initiated from the more primitive parts of the brain. Therefore, those who retain the Moro are not consciously aware of the incoming stimulus. The effect of the starter reflex from the brain and the body on the environment is the first that the patient can become aware of. These people often react in this way to sudden changes in sound, light, stress, etc. The reaction is exactly like the Moro reflex, a full bodily neuromotor and hormonal response. If that is the only emergency reaction one has, then it can significantly deplete the body's reserves. Their reaction is often not understood by the people around them, and they scare others with it. Other people may perceive this as a threat and react to the offensive stimulus. People with Moro reflex often perceive these reactions as being attacked themselves by the people in their environment. They are not aware of the whole chain of reaction and events and continually suffer from it. How to become aware of this chain reaction? The therapy is assessing the whole process for these people, mapping the triggers and then learning to be aware of them. With attention and practice, they become able to detect the first stimulus in the chain, thus eliminating the feeling of being attacked and the resulting stress and suffering. It is a long process, but it is always successful with a motivated patient.